Hello and welcome to Redeeming Thunder. My name is Erica and I'm here to give you a fabulous prophetic word. We are entering the series of the Ordained Spouse series in the new volume of REVAMP Productions. And this word comes with a surprise. A surprise is coming into your life if you're the one waiting for your ordained spouse to come for you. This prophetic word comes with a word of marriage with a surprise. Laka ye, which means alas, jump for joy. To take into marriage, alas, a surprise. This word was given to me on 8/29/2025. Now, if you have been following this channel, which would be wonderful for you, okay? The title here is Revamp Productions. A shock, a surprise. Okay? And so it's basically in a series of in the new highways of replacement spouse. Okay? And so you're going to want to listen on because it gives sincere clues on who this person is for you. So it began on 8/29/2025 at 2 a.m. And it could be where I was finally going to go to sleep after doing a bunch of research and prayer. So I was very sleepy, okay? And then as I'm trying to get to bed, I hear my name. So again, this is another prophetic word where the Most High is stating He's literally going to say your name. He's going to call out to you, okay? No one is in the room, or people are sleeping, okay? Or people are upstairs and you're downstairs and you're all by yourself. And just like what occurred with Samuel, where he heard his name being called 3 times. And this scenario was just said once. So I know this is a prophetic word for the ordained spouse due to the prophetic word given to me while in prayer and given to me in Hebrew, laka ye. Okay, and that's why I know that that's what the Most High is providing this sincere message to you. And anyways, you're going to hear your name, okay? And how you respond is you say, here I am. Okay, and so the Most High has a message for you, and He's saying, are you going to come with me if I call for you? And in that moment, you may want to ask a bunch of questions, okay? And one of the questions may be, who is it though first? I want to know first who the person is, and then I'll answer. And that's not what the Most High is saying. He didn't ask you to ask questions. He didn't ask you to have ultimatums. You need to get in the habit of answering the question quite directly. Just blatantly answer, okay? And if you noticed, when you have a conversation with the Most High and He doesn't answer you, you can attempt to ask in a different way. Okay, everything about having a relationship with the Most High has nothing to do with having a speedy conversation. Okay, it's not always where you get your answer in the next 5 seconds. Okay, it's not a fast food drive-through relationship. It's a bond, a sincere connection. And a lot of these moments take more than 5 minutes. Okay, take more than 5 minutes to unravel. And so what I found fascinating with this scenario was unusually, it was a moment of intimate relationship with the Most High. And all I had to do, okay, was answer. I need to answer the way the Ordained Spouse series is going. Because this is how you will get answers. Right? This is how you will receive. So, in other words, you have to be an active participant in your miracle. And you will need to answer and not take a half an hour to answer. So this was an unusual situation where instead of it being a conversation that goes on for hours, this was a rare situation where the answer was all that he needed from you. How you answer is all that he's looking at your heart posture. Are you willing to drop what you had planned for yourself and then follow him? Just like Elisha had to drop everything and follow Elijah. There wasn't a lot of time to just diddle daddle and to procrastinate and to think things through and to, settle the matters, a bunch of matters. He had to just drop everything and follow Elijah because that was his chance of a lifetime. Okay, so the Most High is checking in right now. And when the way he's speaking is if your ordained spouse is asking you this through Ruach HaKodesh, if you can understand it. He's saying, are you going to come with me if I call for you? In other words, your future ordained spouse, okay, is getting ready to tell you his feelings. And he's probably super nervous. He's probably immensely excited about it. He finally knows it's you. And then he's probably super nervous. Okay? And he kind of wants it like a guarantee that once he tells you that you're going to, you're going to go with that person. Right? Isn't that the whole point though? Is that you're starting a new life? It's called REVAMP Productions. The volume before that was New Beginnings. So like, of course this is happening. There's something that's evolving and chapters are finishing. There's an end of relationships occurring and new relationships are going to be evolving. That's what chapter 51 part 1 was about. And so thankful to the Most High that he has been sent you to this channel and has delivered this message to you. Okay? And if you haven't watched that chapter, you really need to. Because at least you're not left in you're not stranded, not of the unknown. You're not on a deserted island and just no rescue coming, right? I bet you if you were on a deserted island you would want some supernatural revelations to come to you. You would want something. You would need it to be supernatural because there's no person in sight on that island. Let's say you're the only one there. So you would gravitate to, some kind of sign and wonder to hint to you that rescue is coming. So like someone that is deserted on an island would look for up in the sky an airplane or something. Okay? They would look for a ship out at sea. Like all the time, right? Be on alert. And that you would have your smoke signals ready. And you would have, you wouldn't just be there in despair. You would be working on making some kind of raft, right? Some kind of housings, right? Some habitat for yourself. You would be working on busy, but you would be on alert, right? You wouldn't be wanting to be stranded on that island forever and ever. You would want some kind of relief, some rescue to happen. Okay, so right now, a message from heaven, from your ordained spouse, was just sent. And he said, your name. He called out your name and he said, are you going to come with me if I call for you? So naturally, you instantly want to say, who is calling for me? Because you want to assume it's a different subject. No, we're literally talking about the ordained spouse. So now you know when the time comes and the Most High calls your name, he's most likely talking about the ordained spouse situation, okay? So don't stress out that it's a different subject entirely. Then you reiterate, okay? Focus in, tune in, and just answer. I'm not going to answer for you. Just answer, okay? And then this is what the ordained spouse says to you once you answer. Okay, then I'm coming for you. And then he says, that is it, my darling daughter. You can go to sleep. So when I said this was a rare case scenario where the intimate conversation with the Most High doesn't go on for hours, okay, this is the moment where it's a straight shooter question and he wants a straight shooter answer. And that's going to happen very soon for you. Okay, so then when I went to Cambridge Dictionary to ask the definition, call for someone, it means to go to a place in order to meet someone and travel together to another place. Okay, so someone is coming for you and they want to take you with them. Hallelujah for that. Okay, that is wonderful news for those who are waiting for their ordained spouse to come rescue them. Now, on the same night that I had that revelation, I had a dream. So I'm going to dive into the dream and then the interpretation of this dream because it goes hand in hand. And then you want to stay tuned for a real life scenarios that match this word. There is a prophetic word within the Ordained Spouse series that says something along the lines of, he makes a big splash. Okay. Now, I want to explain to you why the individual would be so timid to come for you, to call on you. And that real life scenario would explain why. So that's why you want to stay tuned so that you can understand why this person has been so nervous to tell you. Okay? So this is the dream. I saw this lady that was in a school or some college setting with a bunch of other students that were her age. And it seemed to be that she looked a little bit younger, like maybe in teen years. Again, the Most High is specifying um, teenage years. It doesn't mean that this is not for you just because this is a dream of a teenager, okay? But it could be elaborating a little bit further of someone that's coming for you is someone from your past when you were a little younger than you are now. All right, so, or even a lot younger than you are now. All right, and then it was like a youth group. So there was a bunch of students hanging out in a hallway, and it looked like a college setting because there were many rooms along either each side. Suddenly, I noticed that someone wanted to come and talk to this one woman that was this one teenage girl that was just standing around in the hallway, because you could see I couldn't see the guy's face. I could just tell that he's looking over at her and has some anticipation. So um so there was a secret that everybody knew, and they were keeping it for years. And she was the only one that had no idea of this secret. And so it obviously I'm the one looking into the dream, right? Standing on the side, so that's why I can know these details. And he was coming to tell her. So everybody was in on it. It was being whispered amongst the group of people that were walking back and forth in the hallway. And she could hear them talk about it as they passed through the hallway. And she was amongst that crowd walking by, and she could hear, he's going to tell her. That's the girl. He's finally going to say what he needs to say. Stuff like that, right? So as they were walking through the hallway, a group of people going, you know, a group of people walking back and forth, right? It was shared through the grapevine that he was coming to tell her something. Now, suddenly everybody looked older. They didn't look like a teenager anymore. And so it seemed like walking through a hallway seems to be like a dimensions of time, of life evolving within itself and years going by. And it it was evident that this guy was holding his feelings for many years. And it was evident that others were keeping the secret for many years. So I saw this woman. Now she's a woman, right? She's older now. And so she had gone into a room, a classroom, with a group of people. And they said, okay, the time is now. Wait here. So in that room, there was a window to look out into the hallway, kind of like a classroom would have a window um, in a college or school setting, okay, or in a high school setting, but now it's a college, right? And she looked out the window to see if she could see someone new walk by in the hallway. But the hallway was crowded with people. And he was in the hallway. Everyone said that he was in the hallway already. But she could not tell who it was. And he was not walking up to the window. So it was just super crowded of people. So she could not tell who it was. You know, there was no clues just yet. It was just so crowded. So now it was time. The time has come. So what was arranged was that his announcement was going to be some kind of PDA, okay, of an announcement. He was going to physically show his feelings, in other words, in front of people, in front of the public. And so she was told to walk out from the classroom back into the hallway of the campus in one of the buildings, okay? And so at this point, now she really wants to know who it is. And so somebody told her, close your eyes. And so she did. And she closed her eyes amongst the crowd of people that were circling around the two individuals. Okay, so if there was a crowd of people walking back and forth, and suddenly, like everybody was in on it. And like one of those flash dances where everybody starts dancing, but they weren't dancing, just everybody just stopped and circled around the two. And everybody was looking at them. Now she has a blindfold on. And as this woman stood there in silence waiting, suddenly someone leaned in, and the reveal was given with a kiss. Now, on a side note, this is a second confirmation that the reveal comes with a kiss. So someone is going to just kiss you. I don't know how else to say it. It's like I just have to like throw it out there. They're going to kiss you, and that's how you're going to know. That's kind of romantic in a way, all right? And so then when she was being given a kiss, the lips felt firm. Well, because I could see them kissing. And she took off the blindfold, and who was standing very close to her was a man smiling at her. And he says, "Surprise, it's me." And this woman acknowledged him. She knew who this man was. And she was smiling, and she looked at him, and she saw that he had on a white shirt with jeans, blue jeans. And she looked at him and called him by his name, but a nickname that many used to call him when they were teenagers. And then, now reflecting on a poster, a white poster that he held in front of him, and it said, "Surprise, it's me." So everyone, the whole crowd that was all around surrounding them, was in suspense. They were gasping and they were cheering when I took when she had took off the veil. Excuse me, the blindfold, right? And but to be honest, the blindfold is sort of like a supernatural veil that the Most High has placed on you for such a time as this, for the perfect time to unveil the secret. Okay? So for example, he blinded you on purpose because it wasn't time for you to know who the person was until now. So after that, these two individuals, they went into the classroom and they sat next to each other, and the chairs looked like school chairs, those navy blue, very uncomfortable chairs that are like made out of hard plastic. Very simple chairs, right? And she looked at him, and it was, again, crystal clear who it was, right? And then they looked at each other and they kissed in private, and they sat next to each other, and they watched through the window. And then he got up and went back into the hallway, so left the room with some group of people. And she looked at him again through the crowd, and now she could see who it really was. Okay? Again, it was crystal clear who it was. So a lot of the times these dreams have not shown the face of the person. So it was unknown. But in this dream, now 3 times now, it shows the person's face. So in other words, for an interpretation of that, the Most High is going to definitely clarify to you who the person is. Okay? And now, when I woke up from this dream, I began to recall a real life scenario that reflects this dream. And I will share that at the end. So what I'm going to do is go into the interpretation, biblical interpretation of the dream. The hallway as a symbol of transition and change. So the hallways represent the in-between or periods of life, seasons of waiting, uncertainty, and change from one stage to another. Preparation. This space is a place of readiness where one is being prepared for a new opportunity, phase, or destiny. Testing. The hallway itself can be a test of patience, trust, and endurance as one waits for the next door to open. The people in the hallway. Fellow believers. The presence of people in a biblical context can represent the broader community of faith or the fellowship of believers. Shared journey. These individuals are fellow travelers on a similar path, sharing the experiences of transitional hallway, which can offer mutual encouragement and strength. spiritual growth. Being in a community during these times helps to develop character as believers encourage to support one another in their walk with Yahuwah. What to do in the hallway is to focus on the present. Instead of rushing or being tempted to go back to a familiar past, the emphasis is on being present and learning within the hallway itself. Trust and patience. Trusting Yahuwah's plan and exercising patience are essential virtues to navigate these difficult or uncertain times. Seek guidance within. The hallway is a call to turn inward, searching for strength, clarity, and guidance that already exists within, often through a deeper connection to divine presence. Okay, so the interpretation of classrooms and dreams is that you are in a spiritual school where Yahuwah is teaching you valuable lessons needed for your growth and to gain wisdom. Addressing foundational issues. Dreaming about a classroom, especially an old one, can highlight foundational issues or missed lessons in life that you need to revisit and master to achieve success. Seeking knowledge and truth. A classroom can symbolize the need to seek more knowledge and truth, which is essential for your personal development and understanding of your destiny, preparation for divine purpose. Being in a spiritual school prepares you for spiritual matters and helps align you with Yahuwah's purpose for your life. Now, the biblical meaning of taking off a blindfold in a dream symbolizes the removal of spiritual blindness, deception, or a lack of discernment, leading to clarity, understanding, and the ability to perceive divine truth or guidance. It suggests a shift from ignorance or spiritual slumber to a state of spiritual enlightenment, allowing one to understand Yahuwah's will and see the truth in a situation. So, there's a time where the enemy can put a blindfold on you, and there's a time where the Most High will put it for your protection, because it's not time for you. You are still being prepped. You are still being matured. Okay? And it was not time for you to be revealed what needed to be revealed until now. Okay, now the biblical interpretation of a kiss means desire for connection and intimacy. The dream may reflect your subconscious longing for a romantic connection or a deeper, more intimate relationship. A kiss can symbolize stepping into new experiences, embracing personal growth, and preparing for new stages of your life, especially in romantic or social contexts. Which I do appreciate this insight from the Ruach HaKodesh that he is implanting some desire to embrace new stages in your life with an individual. Okay? So, it also represents certain qualities or traits you admire, aspire to have, or need to develop in yourself. And if you dream of being kissed by someone you know, it could be a signal hidden feelings, a need to reconnect, or unresolved emotions related to that person. And so I find that fascinating because it kind of goes with these experiences that I can tie into as I was reminded of these experiences. So that's how I know that the Most High wants me to reveal these experiences so that you can understand this prophetic message. Being kissed firmly in a dream can symbolize a dream, potentially intense desire for connection, a strong emotional or romantic longing, or even an unresolved emotional issue or unresolved feelings. The firmness of the kiss can intensify these meanings, suggesting a significant attraction, an overpowering desire, or a powerful event or message coming your way. Okay, to understand the specific meaning, consider the relationship with the person kissing you and your feeling during and after that dream. Now, that's when the Most High says, yes, you can put laka yi into this message, which states, alas, to take into marriage, alas, shock, admiration, surprise. So this is definitely an ordained spouse dream. And now I want to dive a little deeper into the real life scenarios that can tie into this prophetic message, so that you can understand the context a little more than just the biblical interpretation. Okay, now you can tie in and you can visualize through a different angle. Okay, so there's a clue that someone has secretly been crushing on you, not for a little while, since childhood. Okay, and it wasn't just that he knew his feelings about you, it was that many others noticed. I noticed that detail in the dream. Okay, and what was possibly a scenario for yourself, why it did not connect. On a side note, my son continues just continues to want to hear these stories of mine, because he just enjoys hearing about my life, about my childhood. It helps us bond a bit, and these stories are a bit funny and kind of embarrassing. So and also kind of cute. And so he's been wanting to hear, like, on repeat, these stories that I'm going to share today, so that seems to be appointed times to share this on the channel. So now, this could relate to you as well, and that's why I'm also sharing it. So there could be someone in your life who had a crush on you. Okay? You may have liked them as well. And it was in your childhood and probably in your teen years. And what happened was, someone else also had a crush on you that was related to that person. And somebody that you know had a crush on the guy that liked you, right? And those relationships were so entangled with, they were so close knit, that maybe in your past you did not pursue that. First of all, it was unknown that the individual felt that way about you. But if you were to pursue it, and that person was to pursue it, it would make things so awkward. And so what you both have done is stuff your own feelings for one another for the sake of not making it awkward for others, for the sake of protecting their feelings. And that's why the Most High could be bringing up in this dimension of time another chance for a rekindling of love, because maybe it wasn't puppy love. Maybe it was destined. Okay? Maybe it wasn't just a fling. Maybe it wasn't just, you know, a scenario of let's get it out of our system, you know. Maybe it was drawing you both in because it was meant to be. Okay? But so this is the year 5786. The 6 is the number, is the letter Vav in the Hebrew alphabet. And the Most High is hooking heaven on earth. That means is he's planting dimensions of time in his, in wherever he sees fit. He's plugging it in. There's a there is a an event in your life, okay, that still needs to occur. And he's gonna, and you may have felt like you missed your chance. And that's what this individual felt in the dream. You know, he's been holding on to these feelings for quite some time. And so he's gonna have another chance now to tell you. And so the Most High is approving it to tell you once again. Once and for all, actually, because he didn't actually say it. And, or maybe he did, but you didn't get the memo, or you couldn't follow through with the memo because there was a lot of debacles in the mix. Okay, so you just felt like it wasn't the right time and you wanted it to, but maybe back in the day you were too shy. Okay? Well, the Most High is giving bravery in this hour, and he's saying that he's giving courage in this hour. He's giving supernatural strength and power in order for this to occur in your real life now. And that's why I'm going to share these personal experiences so that you can gather how this all ties together. You can gather to see that, yes, the Most High is plugging another moment in time, a chance back into your dimensions of time, into your destiny. He's putting it in there, and he's can put it in. You thought it was long gone, and he's gonna plug it in, and it was not long gone. All right. Okay. So, another tip. A real life scenario. So now there's a group of teens at a pool, okay? And everybody's hanging out for hours and hours. And so I'm sitting out in a chair. I didn't go in the water. I don't know how to swim, right? And everybody else is splashing about, they're diving in, but I'm still sitting out on the sidelines, right? And that particular individual with his friend, which is everybody's friend, right? keep inviting me to jump in the pool. And I keep saying, no, I don't want to. I just want to like get, a suntan. And I didn't bring a swimsuit, right? And nobody knew the real reason why I didn't want to get in the pool in that particular time. Okay. But all the other girls were in the pool and I was the only one. So at first I thought, okay, it's because I'm the only one. That's why they're giving extra attention. That's why he keeps insisting for me to get in. But soon later, it seemed like the other group of girls were in a corner and they were started snickering and they started whispering and they were just seeing how much attention that individual is giving. And it wasn't just that they noticed in that one day, which makes it so evident. It notices in, the times in the past. Okay? Maybe he speaks to everybody, you know, but when they saw him speak to me, it seemed to be a little more with care. It wasn't, like treating me like one of the boys, which a lot of girls like to do. And this is what I'm trying to tell you right now. When you are interacting with your ordained spouse and or with someone that you like, right? That if you're a teen, young, person, or you have teens, explain to them that do not try to bond and connect with your crush, the guy that you like, by behaving like one of the guys. Okay, first of all, if he keeps calling you bruh, right? That's not a sign that he sees you like a romantic partner. Okay? So if you're trying to wrestle around with one of the guys, if you're trying to connect with them by always clobbering the guy, like one of the guys, if you're trying to um party hard like a guy or be really rough, it's if he's quite masculine. Okay, I've noticed that men that have a lot of testosterone seem to like women that are high in femininity. Okay, they are very feminine. I mean, they're the ones wearing the dresses. They're the ones, poised and um, a little more modest and not throwing themselves at the guy. The guys like a chase. Okay, so when a woman is acting butch and kind of acting like a tomboy all the time, he begins to see her as, always tries to compete with him in the same level of strength, which will be. Okay? Spends every waking minute that they have free and doesn't reserve some time to themselves for their own hobbies. He doesn't see that type of woman like a potential romantic partner. He sees her as one of the guys, like a basically staying in the friend zone. And I know a lot of this era and time is stating that women should either be a feminist, which is a Vashti scenario, and act like they don't need a man, and behave either that they don't need a man and or like a man. Okay, as in um, behaving in the sense of very non not saying dainty, but non-delicate, all right? That is not attractive, first of all. It's not going to attract. And all the woman wanted was to look like she can handle it on her own, because that's what society's teaching. You need to be able to handle on your own. And all she wanted was to spend more time with him, so she thought she had to act like a boy, a man, and have the strength of a man similarly to attract him. But really, if you allow the man to step it up and be, you know, rescuing you, and if you allow the man to do his role and you focus on your own role, and if you allow the man to be, I'm not saying women can't lead. Okay, I actually have close to getting a master's degree in leadership. I'm not saying a woman can't lead. But in a scenario of a husband and wife, you need to be in that mindset where you're not being like the main leader. Okay? You need to humble yourself and and acknowledge that you need him. Like the Esther role. Okay? So anyway, let me dive in. So anyways, now they kept insisting, I'm like, I didn't bring my swimsuit, I said, right? And they're like, that's okay, just get in. And I'm like, well, I mean, this is going on for like over an hour of insisting, maybe 2 hours. And so all the teens were like at the pool for like, it seemed like 5 hours. So towards the end, of course, they just kept it. I was like, just you guys go and play. I almost wanted to be them to ignore me. Like, just don't focus so much attention on what I'm doing. Just go have fun. I didn't want to be a burden and pull them away from their fun. So it's just going on for hours. And that's why I think the other girls were starting to think there's something else at play here. So now I said, fine, I'll just get my feet in. I'll just sit at the edge and I'll get my feet in, and that should be enough. And once I was there at the edge, they kept insisting. Okay. And so then what happened was they kept messing around, they kept jumping in, they kept splashing, stuff like that. And I said, I just don't, I don't want to because, I don't know how to swim. They said, well, I'll teach you. And so now I know I'm not really paying attention much, but I look over to the side and everybody's doing their own thing. So it doesn't seem like anything's really happening. Right. So I thought maybe if I got in, if I just hung out for a little bit, they'll finally, forget. And I'll just like sort of, hop back out. I'll just get in for 5 minutes and I'll just hop back out. Okay. Just so they could stop insisting for me to get in. So there I am and sitting at the edge. They're like, here, I'll help you down. And his friend's our friend's right there, right next to him. So I thought, okay, they're both coming to get me. It's fine. So they scoop me up and I'm in the water now. And I thought, okay, I'm in the water, just let go. He does not let go. And he kind of floats me, holding me from my armpits, right? And floats me to the middle of the pool. Now, back in the day, I was shorter than 5 foot. So in the middle it happens to be 5 foot. So of course I'm going to be underwater if he lets go. He's like, okay, so I'll teach you how to swim. And I said, well, now I thought that was going to be kind of embarrassing. We're going to get a one-on-one training of some swimming lessons. And now I started realizing there's a bunch of people in the pool. They're all going to be watching me and him as he's going to be training me. So now I changed my mind. I said, oh, that's okay. I'll just want to be like, I'll just hang out in the pool right now. We'll learn how to swim in just a little while. Just to sort of like distract him from that idea. And my other friend is right there. My other guy friend's right there. So, we're all just hanging out in the middle of the pool. So, he's holding me for quite some time. It's going on, I don't know, probably like more than 30 minutes now. And it's just starting to feel like I'm the center of attention. I was like really shy when I was a teen. And I have a sister that was really more outgoing and very much more um, diving towards the leadership role, right? Okay. So um, she just thrived on center of attention. So, anyways, I was not like that. And I, just felt like all eyes were on me, that I'm in the middle of the pool with my guy friends, and I just thought, um, I want to go back to the edge. Let me just hang out on the edge. So they take me back to the edge, and I'm holding on to the edge, and I thought, okay, I could just sit here for a while. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. And suddenly, the group of girls that were around the corner, and there was another group of girls next to me. They were a little closer friends. Okay, someone that had a crush on him was right next to me, and he was like, or they were like, let's play truth or dare. So they were already playing this game earlier on. And then he said, um, or they said, they called out his name and they said, you go first, truth or dare. And he's like, I've already been doing dares for quite some time, so I'll do truth. Well, their question was, do you like Erica? Truth, or say the truth. And right when they said that, that was the question. He had an immensely humongous smile that you could not wipe off his face, okay? And he could not answer. And so now everybody is whispering and everybody is just wondering, you know, they didn't take it as he didn't answer, it's a no. They took it as he's too embarrassed to answer, it's a yes. And so they're just like, see, he's not answering. Oh, okay, do you hear him? Oh, did you see him? Oh, he's not answering. That means he likes her. That means, oh, we knew it. I knew it. All this time, it's been so obvious for, and so they're whispering, oh, you could hear it, okay? I could hear it. So now it's becoming really embarrassing that now I thought I was going to be able to hide and just hang out and, on the edge of the pool and just like, you know, escape this. But there's no escaping that scenario. Now, the person that really liked him was all in shock and was just staring and being like, I can't believe this. Because that person has been attempting to get with him for years. Okay? And now the other person that liked me was just in shock and they didn't want to miss their chance, and so now it's becoming awkward, right? But everybody's like, or his friend chimed in and said, you know what, he already went a lot of times, leave him alone already, leave him alone, he didn't have to answer. And he's just looking at me smiling, like kind of admitting it in a way. And I was really shocked that he would even say it. And I almost didn't want him to because I knew somebody else really liked him, even though I did. It was like I felt like my feelings didn't matter because I had to allow the other person to be chosen and not me. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why this is happening for certain people out there for you. What the Most High is trying to state with this real life scenario, but in this dream and for the Ordained Spouse series, he's trying to say is that you felt like you missed your chance, or he missed his chance, right? Because in that moment, it seemed like it wasn't the right time. Even though you wanted to be the right time, you were just so darn shy, you couldn't even budge to make it happen. And that's why I believe the Most High was asking you that question. If I come for you, if I call on you, will you come with me? Because he's asking you right now, are you going to be shy like you were before and not budge? Or are you going to take the plunge and you're going to take his hand and are you going to go with him? Because a scenario is going to come again for you, this opportunity. And you cannot hide away with all of your timidness. You can't this time. You have to be brave. Okay? So there was another scenario where, okay, so that kind of tied together that I started realizing, because basically in that era, I was sort of blind. I was not seeing what everybody else was seeing. Kind of like the hallways. Everybody knew, but I was the only one that couldn't see it. In that dream, he literally had to have a sign. Surprise, it's me.